Hi, I'm Garbreak1, and this is Midgardia's Cool Crowdfunding Show. Here today with Brian Fisher. How's it going?
It's going well. So excited to be here.
Uh, me too. So why don't you tell us a little bit about Boss Babe the game?
Okay, Boss Babe the game, the anti-MLM game where nobody makes any money and everybody loses. It's a big spoof on the whole MLM world. And for those of your viewers who don't know what that is a multi-level marketing scheme. And I'm sure many of your viewers know what they are, but we are not going to mention any of them because we don't want to get in trouble. But basically, they're legal pyramid schemes that sell a product, and yeah, everybody has somebody selling an MLM product on their Facebook wall.
Yeah, I've worked at conventions beside people selling MLM products. And I'm like, please don't try and recruit me.
Have they?
Uh, no, but they've tried to give us sales advice, which is like
Oh
super
God.
sketchy stuff. Like, oh yeah, say you're doing a giveaway so you can get their information and then email them to
Oh
buy your shit
God,
later. I'm
dude.
like, we're not doing that.
Oh,
No.
dude, I've gone with my mom to so many craft fairs growing up, and they're always there. And you just don't make eye contact because if they see you, they're going to be like, "Hey, so listen, and the product will be like $90 or something like that, and you'll be like, "Listen, I'm just a broke high schooler," and then they'll be like, "So, okay, you can sell this product if you really want, or whatever, and if you recruit 10 people, then you can make the big money." So.
Yeah, it's grim. And like I live in a rural area full of, an aging population, so there's a lot of it. My local farmers market is like half MLM booths. It's
That's what
gruesome.
sucks now. Is like, don't you remember when farmers markets were actual farmers? And now you could say farmers markets are overpriced honey, overpriced cheeses, like $90 for a little slab of goat cheese, and then there's seven MLMers and a lady selling scarves. It's like nobody wants to go. I remember when farmers market had farmers in them.
I'm lucky there's a Hutterite colony nearby, so like there actually is real farm produce there.
Oh, dude,
Um,
there's one right near me, and it's not like that at all. Like
it's
I've just
grim.
been like, no, I have plenty of $30 honey jars of honey right now. So,
Oh yeah, and one old lady selling weird shit she found in her
oh
garage.
yeah, dude, yeah, some weird lady, I don't know, or they're squirting stuff. It's okay. Thank you. Yeah, you made that yourself, huh? Essential oils, huh? It's my own concoction. Yeah, you need 3 drops of pyramid, and okay, no, thank you. Get me out of here.
But yeah, the thing that makes an MLM like distinct from a legitimate business is you're not really making your money by selling a thing, you're making it by having people under you selling a thing. Is that about right?
Oh, I mean, you obviously understand it. Yes, and you can tell someone who's new to an MLM by how much they focus on the product. If they're focusing on the product and they're like, "Oh, I love this shampoo," or "Oh, I love this makeup," they're new because they haven't come to the sad realization that the only way to make money in an MLM is to, well, okay, you can make money selling the product, but the only way to make any actual money is to get people under you. And when eventually they don't even talk about the product anymore. Like once you're in it, like let's say you're in it for 6 months, you've kind of realized, oh, my paychecks are $17 a month and I'm working 24/7. And I retired, but you didn't retire at all. Like you're working way more than ever, just running around with your phone, posting on, here's something, here's a poll, like, and whatever. But the truth is, the way you make money and the only people making good money, as you know, are at that top 0.01%. And that's because they have a downline of like 10,000 people. And even then they leave sometimes too, like it's what this game, even though it's a silly game, and I'm sure we'll get into it, it's the real way to get change is to point out with humor how crazy this world is. And a lot of people don't have a clue. Like we see it, we've heard of these products, we've heard of these companies, and that's about it. Maybe we went to a party one time, we bought some tchotchke to support our cousin Sally, but deep down, especially now during like the COVID and the pandemic, these businesses and not the MLMers are so predatory. They inspire people that are in hopeless situations or they haven't found a job or they've lost their job, And they make these people believe that I can be a millionaire. If I just sell this product, I can make all this money. And it's so sad because, like there's a subreddit on Reddit called Anti-MLM. There's all these people. I mean, everybody knows somebody that has sold. I know like a ton of people, and they all burn out. I mean, okay, the small percentage don't, but those few that do, it's so sad because, I mean, the FTC has this famous piece of research that was done in like 2008 that says 99% of all MLM reps of every MLM studied at the time didn't make $1 in profit. I mean, think about that. Now, they always point like, oh, look how many look how many millionaires we made, but deep down it's 0.001%. And they always say, oh, you know what, the real pyramid scheme, it's the corporate world, and I'm like, yeah, but if I worked 20 years, I probably would get a promotion. In a pyramid scheme or an MLM, your upline will always be your upline. There is no way you can ever pass your upline. In a real company, say you do a really good job, there's a chance your manager retires, you move up. You could be the CEO. You have a better chance of becoming the CEO of an actual company. But there is not a chance you're going to become the CEO of a real MLM. Why would they ever leave? You're doing all the work that's making the people at the top money. They don't have to do anything. I watch these live streams of these top MLMers. They don't do anything all day. And then I watch the people I know in MLMs. They are posting 50 times a day, desperate for you to buy one product, to join their team. I've got 5 slots left. That person will have 5 slots left for the rest of their life.
Yeah, and
so I went on a tangent. I know you're the interviewer. I'm sorry, just rambling, but I'm really passionate about this because the game is like, I know you're going to ask. The game is the game. It's a silly little game. It's like Cards Against Humanity. You read a card, you add one to your downline, or you take out a credit card, and that's the joke. And the game is slated that everybody's going to pretty much have to take out 5 credit cards and lose. The question is, to win the game, can you hold on long enough to not take out 5 credit cards? Because that's how the MLM world is. It's like the real pyramid schemes, everybody's just clinging. Please just buy my product. You just watch them. At the beginning, they're so passionate. They're posting every day. And they're always like, mindset, we're going to do it. We can do it. Yeah. Rah, 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 we can do it. And then it's like, when someone leaves the pyramid scheme, you don't hear a word about it. It's just this kind of silent, they just stop posting about it. And nobody ever brings it up because they're deep down, they're like, is she still in it? I don't want to buy anything. Let's just not mention. So what are you doing now?
And they've got like the 6 boxes of really crappy, ugly ass leggings sitting in the garage.
Yeah, it's like nobody wants to bring it up. Anybody that's not in the MLM world, they don't want to talk about it because and that's what's so sad about the social media marketing of MLMs is like, they'll do things just to get you to message them. They'll make polls that seem like fun. Oh, you ever seen this? You send a message, boom, hit you with a DM. Join my MLM. You need to, I watched this one MLM team call that was posted on an anti-MLM vlogger, and thousands of people on a Zoom call. And the girl who was leading the call said, I message 1,500 people follow 1,500 people on Instagram per day. The ones that follow her back, she'll message. And then of those, if they don't follow her back, she'll dump them. That's the sales. That's how they like. Can you imagine that? Like just going on, it doesn't matter who you are. And imagine being on the team call where you were recruited and they use some kind of like text that's like, listen, Garm, you are the best. I love what you post. You should really join my team. And you go, wow, this person really liked me. They really like my social media presence. And then you join, and then you get on a team call and they go, listen, here's what you say to every sucker out there. You say, I really like you. And then imagine hearing that, you're going, wait, that's exactly what this person said to me. And you have to be all in. Are you all in or not? And you're like, well, you kind of just like, you just revealed to me that everything you said to me was a lie, and I have to keep going on, like, and and sell this, like, and geez, I'm like working 20, you're making a ton. I saw you just, they just sent you a free Apple Watch, and I'm scraping by with $17. I have to take a picture of like my paycheck and cover it with my thumb to make people think I'm making thousands, but really the decimal point's 2 over, and I made $18, not $18,000 or whatever.
Yeah, and I think one important thing to mention is we're not making fun of necessarily the people who get suckered into this.
Sure.
Like, I mean, they're the real victims here. Like, yeah, getting annoying Facebook messages sucks. I mean, I was an unlikable asshole in high school, so I don't get any. But so I got that going for me. But like that sucks. Sure, whatever. What really sucks is the way that this completely destroys people. Like,
Yeah,
it's crushing.
I get it completely. I said, I asked a friend of mine, because I've been working on a novel, and I said, what's the worst possible thing you could ever do to someone else? And my thought was the destruction of innocence. So like raping a kid, or so that's pretty terrible. It doesn't get much worse than that, right? Like taking a child's innocence is pretty bad. And a good friend of mine said, the worst thing, he said, that's bad, and I'm not trying to take away from that, that's bad, but he said what's worse is knowingly giving someone false hope. That there's nothing worse than that, because the people I know that are in it, I love them. They're great people, friends, family. There's nothing wrong with them. I don't want them to pitch me on the MLM, but there's nothing wrong with the people. The people that I don't like are the people at the top that know that, one, the products are crap or whatever, but they're suckering people in to working, slaving away for them to make them, they make you $20, but you multiply that 10,000 times a month, and bada bing, I'm making some good money. Those people, or the people at the top, the predatory nature of the MLM is bad. The people that get sucked in, you look at it and you go, they really just want out of something. They didn't like their job. They feel isolated. There's a lot of single moms in MLMs, and they're doing the kid thing, and they want to contribute, or they want to do something else. You have to distinguish between the MLMer and the MLM, because the MLM, that's what anti-MLM, and it's really important, because a lot of the anti-MLM movement, and I've been really struggling with this, the game, because the game is anti. And when you say anti, it's always, I'm against something, right? Like I don't like this. But usually movements that are anti, I think Mother Teresa once said she wouldn't march in end the like anti-war march, but she would march in a for peace thing. So she's like, I'm for peace, I'm not anti-war. Doesn't mean that she's not anti-war. It just means that it's better to be for something. And the problem with the anti-MLM movement is a lot of times we get just into the snarky, sarcastic, look how crazy these people are. But we really should say what we really are is we are pro small business. The anti-MLM movement is really people that want to support small businesses. The only problem is everybody that's representing these MLMs, they're $1 billion company for a reason. That's not a small business. They've suckered you into thinking that you're an entrepreneur. One, you're classified as an independent contractor. You don't get a W-2, you get a 1099 that you have to pay taxes on. You're responsible for all. You don't get any benefits. You don't get time off. And they say, oh, well, I can work from anywhere. I can work forever or whatever. But that's not what's going on, right? Of course you can. You're a contractor. If you had a real job, they give you vacation time. You can take time. You get maternity leave. I saw in Canada that you don't qualify for that. In Canada, I know you're in Canada, Garm, like it's like you get 12 months maternity leave, except if you're not if you're an MLMer, you don't qualify for that because you're not paying into that child like fund for your taxes. So it's like, yeah, you can work from anywhere, you can work forever you want, you can take time off, but you're not getting paid. Like that's what's so crazy is like, at what point do you go? And the sad part is that most MLMers at the bottom at some point go, I'm not making any money, and it's like, yeah, like I'm spending a lot. But for a while, you really just think this is how business is, but it's not. You're not a small business. You are an independent rep for a giant, massive corporation, and you're probably not going to make any money. And that's the sad part. And nobody wants to admit it, like, because it seems like I'm a personal failure. And like with this Kickstarter, I'm at $3,000 right now. I need 10 grand. I thought I have stretch goals going up to 100,000, and now I'm just like, okay, can I make 10? Like, I thought it was just good. Like, I see that you see it all the time. I'm sure you talk to like crazy successful Kickstarters, and they're just blowing up, and you see them. And I think it's the same thing with the MLM. You think, oh yeah, I'm gonna be like her. I'm gonna get that Mercedes, But it's like, no, you're not. Like, will feel so blessed in this Kickstarter if I make 10 grand. My expectations have like make 10 grand. I lose money on that, by the way. Like, it's like, I was like, okay, I probably break even at 20, but at 10, I'll be willing to invest. But it's like it's like a setting of different standards. And it's the same thing in the MLM world that this whole game is trying to represent, which is this predatory nature using humor to point out that like every card in this game, you should be able to post it under every post, because it doesn't matter what MLM it is. It doesn't matter what it's all the same. You see the same patterns. Join my team. It's a great product. Here's what it does. It doesn't matter that there's 200,000 people selling in your area, that the product is 90 times the price as everything else. And why is it so expensive? Because all the money goes to the top. All the money is going up. You don't need, like, shampoo shouldn't cost $70. I don't care how much you think it's great, right? Where's that money going to? It's going up. How do you pay commission? Well, your product has to be overpriced. You want to sell a $5,000 water purifier? A $5,000 water. Who's got the money for that? And then two, and then, oh yeah, my commission's great. I made a $2,000 commission. Well, if you made a $2,000 commission on a $5,000 product, how much is the product to make, right? Like, you start doing the math, like, as a consumer, why would you buy that?
Yeah. Yeah, it's...
All right, you can tell I'll go. I'm sorry, I'm not leaving you.
No, it's all good, man. It is a wild world of, like, exploitation, honestly. That's pretty much it.
Yes.
And, you probably will make that $10,000, just based on how I've seen these things go. Usually those last, like, 2 days are where most of that money is, but, like, it's not going to be as profitable as, like, the Hellboy Kickstarter that's up right now, or, like,
right. But that's okay. Like truly, like, like, I think about this too. It's like we all look up, and maybe this is like, oh, I saw that Exploding Kittens made 8.9 million. Well, I can do that. You know what I mean? It's like, you also have to just be humble and know that this is my first Kickstarter. The reason why for this game, Boss Babe the game, it's a really simple game, but its purpose is much bigger than what it is. And I just, seeing people I know and love get suckered into this world is sad for me. And I don't know, I know you don't have them as much, but I do. And you can't reason with them. You can't say, listen, you can't, stats, it's so sad that they're a bit brainwashed. A lot of these MLMs now are doing these team Zoom calls. So if you're my upline, Garm, and let's say there's 10 people under you and I'm one of them, every day, multiple times a day, they have these personal development calls, and they're really focusing on, minds. Have you seen these mindset things?
I haven't. I think I've heard about them, but I haven't seen any of it, thankfully. That sounds like hell.
There's this new term called toxic positivity. Have you heard about this?
Is that like love bombing? Is that the same kind of thing?
Well, I don't know what love bombing is. So you tell me after I describe it, and you say, well, it's basically, like, throughout this whole campaign, I go to the gym and I'm listening to Les Brown and Jim Rohn and all these, like, kind of Tony Robbins, all these kind of motivational speakers, because every day I'm just, like, biting my nails, like, please, please, I mean, I'm just glued to my phone, like, please, like, every new pledge, I'm like, oh, okay, we're going, we can do it. I'm trying to keep the mindset. And in almost every MLM, I've been finding it, because you see these calls posted, because there's that whole anti-MLM movement. They're recording everything. There's nothing hidden anymore. Like in the old days, okay, you hold it like a house party or whatever, and you go over, and you didn't really know what's going on behind the scenes. But now it's out in the open. People are screen recording everything and they're posting online. So you see these Zoom calls, and every morning it's these mindset, getting in the right mindset. So, and they talk, and there's these people out there, there's these famous ones that are giant hypocrites, that they're like, you can do it, hon, and there's all these memes now that it's like, like someone's drowning, and it's like, focus on the positive or whatever, what I mean? It's like, or there's a truck coming, and it's like mindset, all these kind of ideas. And the idea is it's toxic. And it's sad for me, because I really do believe in thinking well. The problem is that it's something very positive for people that's being totally manipulated and screwed to get these MLM reps to just keep going, to ignore what's happening, ignore that true deep feeling that something doesn't seem right. Everybody's rejecting me. Nobody's giving me okay. So they always say, like, if you have like 1,000 people that follow you on Instagram, well, there's that ratio of likes or that you get. Well, someone that might get 100 likes a post, all of a sudden they post something about their MLM, they get 1, and it's their downline, or it's like someone on their team or whatever. Nobody's commenting and stuff, and so they have to have these like every day, and these are unpaid, right? So imagine I'm going to log in for an hour at 8 a.m. for a side hustle, but every day I need to be on this call, or it looks bad to my upline, and then I gotta positive. We can do this. Huh? Everybody together. Let's have a shot. Let's drink. This is a great company. We're gonna make it. And then, it's like by the end of the day, you're like, God, I didn't make one. Nobody joined my team. I didn't make a sale. Nobody liked a post except for everyone else on my team, and it's this fake. Everybody's commenting on everybody else's thing, and then you're kind of down at the end of the day, and you're like, well, at least I have the mindset call and tomorrow. And it's like, oh my God, and you're not even being paid for this. It's like, anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about, you've just got to go to some anti-MLM subreddits, because every day these subreddits are so active that every day there's something that I'm like, oh my God, right? Like this, it can't get any crazier. And it is. And you're like, I'm making a game about this, but this is even crazier than the game. You're like, oh my God, like, okay. And then I'm like, while this is happening during this campaign, I'm just like screenshotting, taking things to my, my Illustrator and going, hey, you got to make me a card of this. I got to post it. This is absolutely insane. I'm like, I'll pay you more, get it done in 3 days, because I really need it, So, but that's the game. That's the MLM world. I know it's a little bit different than your normal content, which is like deep, mystical strategy games, which we both love. This is not that. This is a stupid game that's just a lot of fun, and you will definitely laugh. If you look at the cards on our Instagram or anywhere, you'll see them. Boss Babe the game. You'll see these cards. If they make you laugh, think about supporting us. And if they don't support us. You know what I mean? Like, you don't get it. Trust me. I showed a few people, like my aunts. People don't get it. If you haven't been in it, you don't get it. If you haven't been invited by like okay, I was in an improv class. This improv guy invited me over for a party, and I was like, oh, okay. So I brought some board games. I brought Settlers. I brought Settlers. I brought 5 Tribes, and I brought Acquire. My 3 favorite games, which is what I like to bridge people that I don't know if they play complex board games. I go over there. It's a terrible apartment in a really bad 800 square foot, like tiny, really bad area of town. And I'm already like, it's filled with people that I'm like, these aren't my kind of person at all. Like, these are like weird people. There's a tiny vegetable tray on the counter, like this big, and there's a ton of people in this. And I'm like, and nobody, that when you go to a party and there's like nothing, and nobody eats anything from that tray, because they're all like, it's not going to be me. It's not going to. And I remember him taking his little like 13-inch laptop and connecting it to his 24-inch TV on his and I was like, what is going on here? Like, what's about to happen? I sit down on the one piece of furniture, and I'm like planting down, and then he starts this like really rote script, and I'm like, what? and I would mention the company, but it's a service company. It's not even a company that sells a product. It's like you're a member. It's a membership one. And I was like, there's no way that you could make any money at this. And I'm on my phone the whole time being like, is this company a pyramid scheme? And like, top result, yes, total scam. And it's like, I like don't really know this guy, so I would just get up and leave. And I'm like, it totally ruined our potential relationship. I thought this guy was a cool guy. And I was like, okay, well, okay. But it totally ruined. And we still had more improv classes, like 8 more weeks of it. And every time I saw him, I just was like, I don't want to be any scenes with this dude. I don't want to look at him. I don't want to sit next to him. It's just such a violation of a relationship. Anybody that's been pitched, like imagine you had an old high school relationship and somebody comes back to you and they're like, hey, you're looking good. You're like, oh, thanks. It's nice to see you. They're like, hey, so listen, I was wondering if you're interested in making any extra money. Like, extra money, it's like, what? I haven't, or so whatever, you're like, this violation sticks with you. I mean, I've had this happen 3 or 4 times where somebody has exploited a relationship with me to sell me one of these products.
Yeah.
I got one for insurance, life insurance, which I'm like, I'm 18 years old. What am I going to buy? It was like, you buy it now, or whatever. It's like, I'm not going to spend $19 a month for life insurance when I'm 18 years old. And I don't have a job, or whatever. It's like that violation sticks with you. And I think that's why anybody who hasn't sold, so there you have the whole people that have sold MLMs that are burned, that they didn't make any money. And then you have the people that were burned by the old friend or whatever that you really exploited that relationship. And it's never the same. It's never the same after that. You will always remember, if somebody ever tried to sell you something, to use their relationship with you just to sell you, besides your mom and dad, because mom's going to buy whatever crap you're selling for the rest of your life, right? But if you go to a friend who you haven't talked to for a while, or anyone, a distant relative, just to sell them, they will remember that forever. And this is no matter what happens, it's like people that loan money. You loan $1,000 something, they never pay you back. They never forget, right? If you do that, you will never be the same with that person. And anybody that's sold MLMs know that. And the problem is that there's never this catharsis where you go, I'm sorry. It's like, I made a mistake. Like sometimes there is, but overall, it's just this. It's like when you have a fight with someone and you never talk about it again. It wasn't ever resolved. It's just lingering there, like this wound, this gaping wound that, every day you just try to move on. But deep down, the people that have been burned are like, remember that time you tried to sell me insurance for, or you tried to get my money? It's like, what were you thinking? And you want to be like, what's wrong with you? But that's the way it is. And anyway, so that's the game. I'm sorry. All I've been doing is listening, watching everything anti-MLM. And it is be grateful. If you're not in it, or if you were in it and you're out, be grateful. If you're not in it or or you don't understand this call at all, be grateful, because you don't want to be in it. It's like this sludge that you just can't get off of you. It's like, what is this?
Yeah, and we can't name any specific things in this video because, like we said, they're litigious as hell. But if an old buddy or something reaches out to you and goes, "Hey, I started a company. It's called this," look it up. Google that.
Yeah, first thing to Google, income disclosure statement. And they're really confusing. Like I was creating an Excel document. They do this wording. Okay, so imagine I'm an MLM. I would do a specific one, but I'll just do one in general. There's one that took me like 20 minutes to even understand. It's one paragraph of text with some charts. And the way to display it is like, if you're diamond or emerald diamond status, then the average income is $1,300 a month. Sounds good. Sounds like, okay, I could use $1,300. The problem is that the first paragraph says, out of all of this company's MLM reps, 78% didn't make a commission. Of the reps that made a commission, 13% reached level 1. Then they break down level 1 into 4 different categories. Of the level 1, so of the 33% that did get a commission, 12% earned an average of $16 a month, right? And There's a problem using average over median, right? So an average for, statistically, you want to use the median, because if I made $1 billion and you made $1, the average is really high. But if it's a median, then it really shows where it is. And most medians are like in the single dollars, like revenue. That's not even profit. That's just revenue. But even if you just take average, which will be like, oh, I made $200. Well, the next level, 16% of the reps making a commission, which was 30%, and I kept having to do them. They make it so what they display is people making money. But what they don't show is that 90% made zero or negative. But they don't want to show that. So what they want to show is this chart is like, oh yeah, and look, if you're double diamond, emerald, platinum level, then you could make $26,000 a month. Could you use that? It's like, well, yeah, but if you do the math, it goes 0.0001% of your company made that. And like truly, 28 grand a year is like amazing in an MLM. Like if you made that, that's like the joke in the game is like, if you are able to add 5 Huns to your downline, you'll reach the elite level, win the game, and make the coveted $28,000 a year before expenses. So that's like a joke. It's like nobody makes any money. Here's the way to make a money in MLM. 1, start an MLM and be really charismatic and get people to join your team. 2, get in really early. Like the people that are making the good money that you see these lifestyle things, they joined right at the start. They joined like right away, back when everybody's making fun of it. Nobody's joining the team. Now, half of those are going to burn, maybe more than that. 90%, they don't go anywhere. Like they burn out. But the ones that make it, you go, wow, look at her now. She's driving a Mercedes, but they don't tell you about the Mercedes, that they're not actually paying for the Mercedes. That if you maintain your personal volume and your status, we will pay this much of your car payment, let's say $400. Well, it's not. But if you reach double, if you keep your personal volume, which again, it's so convoluted, you can't understand. Here's something you'll never see in an MLM: 50% off. It'll never be like that. It'll be like, if you buy 3 products at 13 and you're a VIP member, then you will get access to this product for 30% off plus 3 products in a grab bag. And you're kind of like, what was that? What's that promotion? It's not like Bed Bath & Beyond where it's 20% off. I went there and I got 20% off. It's not like that. It's always like, just like their income disclosure statements. It's like, what?
Yeah, it's one of the ways they exploit people, by making it so hard to tell that you are actually losing a ton of money. You look at that deal and you go, that's a great deal. Like, what is that deal? Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And they're always like, the products sell themselves. And you're like, I've never heard of that product. Why would I buy that? It's $70. It's like, they sell themselves. Just join. Don't think about it. Join, please. It's like, no, hold on. Let me just, no, I've never heard of this, because there's a hashtag that's really funny that says, oh, shoot, I'm going to get it wrong. Basically, the rep is the customer. There are no customers. The reason why these companies are billion-dollar companies is you're the customer. The person that they've said, the representative, the MLMer, they're the customer. They have to, a lot of them, you have to maintain a certain purchase amount per month to maintain your status or to even be able to sell. You're the customer. You're not going to sell all that.
Which is freaking wild. Like, having to keep, having to purchase like some ludicrous amount of inventory just so that you can sell the stuff you already have that you are not selling. Like,
right. I mean, go to a thrift store. That's a common one, is that you just see, like any of the clothing ones, racks of it, because people have bought so much and now they can't even give it away. So they're just, here, Goodwill, take it. And there's just racks. I saw a sign that said, like this one thrift store was like, no longer accepting this products, because they got too much, because too many people have bought crazy amounts of this. Nobody wants that. They don't sell themselves. The reason why you're working 24/7 is because you have to just, please, if you're messaging 1,500 people, they're not wanting it. You're just shoving, Mom, you really need this. Like, you got to be on my team. Like, it's not nothing. No product is easy to sell. Like, maybe some, maybe you get to that level, but like Apple, okay. but it was a hard time. Steve Jobs went through a hard time in the 80s. Like Apple almost collapsed, right? They had to fire him, right? Anybody that looks at, oh, look at Apple, I can be like, no, it's not like that. You forget, no product is ever just easy to sell. It might be easy to sell for a while. Think of a cool restaurant. A cool restaurant is cool. Even the coolest restaurant is only cool for like a couple years. Then the other cool one comes out, boom, your old stuff. I mean, who looks at Chili's anymore and goes, I really want those chicken crispers now? You're like, you have this memory that they were good, and now you go back and you're like, oh my God, what? Oh, I'm sorry. You're gonna have to. I'm sorry. I mentioned the company, but
no, it's okay. They don't. Those guys won't sue me. It's just the MLMs.
Okay, but you think you're the hot thing. You grow like crazy, and then usually, especially in the MLM world, the product drops. I've seen this because the craziness is like, oh, this is the hot new MLM. We got to join. And boom, you have 1 million people selling in an oversaturated market for a product that nobody wants. Well, all of a sudden, to manage that, they just have to like, they have to drop quality because we weren't ready to sell 1 million units of this oil. Like now we gotta, print it out, call China, Shenzhen. Hey, we need 90 million bottles of this. And they're like, well, we're kind of only doing 10,000, but just get it out there. I don't care. And then all of a sudden it's like, people are like, hey, I can't sell this. This isn't what I remember. Like it's the whole thing. Every aspect of it is sad about it. There in the game, at least at the first stretch goal, we had like 100 cards. I could easily do 500 cards. Like I was like, that's why I'm like always like, every day it's like, okay, well, this game could be as long as Cards Against Humanity. Like, and because it's like sure it's the same thing, but it's just like, oh my God, what's happening? Like, what's happened to this world? People believe this? Like, ask Mom when she tried to sell, whatever company that was. Like, it didn't work then. It doesn't work now. No matter how much they try to sell you, you're selling a lifestyle. No matter how much they tell you, like, oh, it's not like that at all.
Yeah.
It's a sad world. Get out. We're not against you. We're against the predatory nature of this industry. And it is really bad. It's false hope. It's false hope unless you're at the top. And if you're at the top, you know it's bad.
Yeah. And obviously what you need to do with all those card ideas is, just tell everybody that they can only play the game as long as they buy every expansion pack as soon as it comes out.
Hey, step one, I would like, forget expansion packs. Let's just get this game. I will put in more. So like for example, I had like game board. If we don't get to game boards, like if we don't get there, I don't care. I'm just going to spend as much money to get more cards. The game is the cards. The cards is what's so funny about this game. Do you really need the pyramid? All these other things, I'd love to have them. Doesn't matter. What's funny is these cards. So, and there's the supply. The supply is infinite. This world is so silly. And I mean, every day, just go to reddit.com /r/anti-MLM. Google Reddit anti-MLM. If you don't know what we're talking about, you won't understand it for a while, and then you'll go, oh God, that person that approached me in Target, that weird couple that just started talking to me about what I do for a living or whatever. Like now I'm like, oh yeah, they must have been trying to sell me this crap, like.
Yeah, I had a couple try and recruit me at my work once for what they insisted was not a pyramid scheme once.
The more they tell you it's not a pyramid scheme, run. Have you ever had to tell someone that, like when you're like, hey, listen, you're an administrative assistant. It's not a pyramid scheme. Trust me. Okay? Like, you're going to make $1 million. You're like, I thought I was just a secretary. No. It's really not a pyramid scheme. We need you to log into our team call tomorrow. Oh, okay. How much am I getting paid? No, you're not getting paid for that. But just log in. We'll get your mindset in the right spot. And then you'll make $1 million. It's like, did you just wink at me?
Yeah, they invited me to coffee somewhere across town, and I went with them, and they were like, no, it's definitely not a pyramid scheme. And I was like, so is this like a cult you're inviting me to? And they're like, oh, we should tell everybody it's a cult. Yeah. I'm like, please deny that it's a cult at some point.
See, that's what's so crazy is like, because when you're one of that joked about like the way to make money is to start a pyramid scheme, you look at any of these old ones and you know the brands that are old ones. And if you don't, just Google some of the oldest MLMs. The people that started them, the similarities to cults is like watch the one called. There's a Netflix series that just came out called Unwell. Have you seen it?
I have not.
Oh, okay. The first episode's about essential oils.
Okay.
And there's the two biggest companies selling essential oils are MLMs, right? You can go to Target and get an essential oil for $10, maybe less, right? These are $90, $150 little bottles of these things. And if you look at the founders of these companies, which is almost true across the board, you kind of like, oh, this is giving me a little Waco feeling here. You know, like it's like you definitely are kind of drinking the Kool-Aid here, or you wouldn't follow somebody. You wouldn't believe in a kind of a crazy product if you. There's some really weird. They say the way you can distinguish a cult is usually one of the big ways is that if the founder dies, usually the cult dies. So that's a lot of people say, well, they refute it, but there's there's a really cool show with Kirsten Dunst, you know, the Spider-Man girl. Have you seen this one? I forget what channel it's on, but it's called On Becoming a God in Central Florida. Have you seen it?
I have not.
Have you heard of it?
I haven't. I don't watch much TV,
Oh,
unfortunately.
okay. Well, you're better than me. I have a lot more time in COVID than I mean, basically anyways, but it is about, I would say the name, but it's about a very similar pyramid scheme that exists that sells all types of product, paper towels, housewares, kind of things in the 80s. And it's kind of how it rose to power. And you look at it and you go, if that's how it is, they're listening to tapes, like old school tapes, you know, and it's like these empowerment tapes. It's the same thing as these like calls today. It's like, and what they point to in this, and I looked it up, is that these people at the top of the pyramid scheme were putting out these tapes, forcing their reps to buy them. And they were making way more money on tapes to empower people to sell the crap than they were on the crap, right? Because the tapes were actual product that people had to buy. Nobody wants overpriced paper towels. But if you make all your reps buy these tapes and, oh, you can get to the conference, or, you know, like you can meet the founder who is, like you said, a kind of culty, you know, and it's a good show. I'm deep in this, Garm, as you can tell. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Like, are you? I don't want to keep. I know this is already way too long. We're supposed to be 20 minutes. I'm sure we're way longer than that. So I'll pitch it to you and then I'll say goodbye.
All right. So give me the elevator pitch for Boss Babe.
The elevator pitch is: if you hate MLMs, if you've been burned by an MLM in any way, think about supporting us. We would really appreciate it. It's a simple game. You will laugh. It is not Settlers of Catan, it's Yahtzee. But Yahtzee is fun. So if you don't like MLMs, we would appreciate their support.
Excellent. And there's a link to that right below this. And yeah.
Garm, it was a pleasure. I hope your channel does really well. Thank you for letting me just ramble. You're great for letting me just go. And I hope your channel does really well.
I'm glad to have you on. All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.